now she's hoping that Duke Energy means it when it says that it's made changes ahead of this hurricane season.
Here, we're going to take a walk over here out from under the cover, and we've been talking to people. We've run into people. They've evacuated from Panama City. They are heading to Alabama, and a lot of people stopping for stuff. And you can see, oh, it's closed. What did you come here for?
I came to give me something to eat and something to drink. Everything closed.
When I first got here to the arena, one of the first things I did was I walked the entire length of the arena, trying to see what stood out to me inside of Quicken Loans Arena. And the first thing that stood out to me is you see a lot of GOP signs here, perhaps more so than Trump-Pence signs.
And right now I have Amber with Bell City Amusements, and she's going to tell us all about them. Amber, what are we doing right now?
We are on the Flying Elephants in the Sunnyvale Kitty Corral at the Florida Strawberry Festival, where there's over 45 rides dedicated to small children.
Police miss their intended target 70% of the time when dealing with a high-stress dynamic event. Now apply that to an untrained shooter, not expecting their victim to confront them.
I got it right.
You got it right.
Zero.
Playtime is precious time for Teresa Austin and her 5-year-old son, Noah. Sweet moments like this, almost stolen. Noah was diagnosed with cancer at just 15 months.
His little body was so full of leukemia that the little lumps were actually what they call infiltrates. And it's the actual sluggy part of the cancer getting up under the skin. And he was literally covered in it.
Chemotherapy sent Noah into remission, but the cancer came back a second time.
This time the leukemia had gotten smarter.
And a third time.
This time it was in his face.
Noah endured bone marrow transplants, chemotherapy, and radiation. Treatment took a toll on his little body.
They told us that he may not make it because the heart was so badly damaged.
But Noah fought back and is now in remission.
We had our 1-year mark September 1st. That's a big day when you make it 1 year.
A big day, but a new fight would soon begin.
I immediately called the oncologist and said, we're coming to the emergency room right now. You need to get ready. He's unresponsive.
3 infections took over his body that had already battled so much. Spending months in the hospital, Noah would not leave the same.
There was no saving. We could not save the feet.
Another new normal.
We knew cancer. We knew how to handle cancer. We knew what to do with cancer. This one, I feel like we're completely in the dark.
Taking it day by day.
We're going to pretend you're in the pool and just kick your foot.
Noah goes to therapy several times a week to prepare him for prosthetics.
He wants his robot feet.
And he's getting there by working hard to get stronger.
This one's almost ready for robot feet. Look at that.
Mom searches for strength too.
We all have already been through so much, so I ask why.
Therapeutic for her is posting to the Prayers for Noah Facebook page.
Thank you for the love you show our family each and every day. Each and every time I call out for the strength. Sorry. That's a hard one.
Building strength for family. Loving a son.
That's what gets me forward every single day, is knowing that this is why I'm here as mommy, is to keep doing that and to keep going. Sorry.
Going down a path paved with prayers for Noah. In Tampa, Melissa Eichman, Spectrum, Bay News 9. 17-year-old Lindsay Porter of Clearwater is one of the fittest girls in the world, and she's training for the top title.
We've been running a lot, swimming, and then just coming in and hitting a hard workout.
Working hard to compete and win the 2017 CrossFit Games for the teenage girls division.
It would mean everything. I've trained really hard this year and just gonna go out and try my best.
Lindsay's father, Les, is her coach. She started working out with Dad when she was 10. He also owns CrossFit Clearwater.
We try to train the body as a system. So we take elements of gymnastics, elements of weightlifting. We run, we row, we do conditioning.
Lindsay's been training 2.5 hours every day.
It's very stressful. I have a lot of nerves, but I'm excited to go out and compete.
It's kind of like the Super Bowl for CrossFit, and they compete to see who's the fittest teen in the world.
And Lindsay's stats are super impressive.
My snatch is 180. My clean and jerk is 195. My deadlift is 250.
Numbers putting Lindsay in elite status, rewarding for this father-daughter duo. And Dad admits he pushes Lindsay harder.
Playing the role of father and coach is challenging, but also very rewarding.
He wants me to do my best, and he just pushes me a lot more than a regular coach.
Pushing for a win. The international competition starts August 3rd in Madison, Wisconsin. In Clearwater, Melissa Eichman, Bay News 9. It's feeding time.
Hey, the food is over here.
And with 12 chickens,
There's like June, Amelia Earhart, Marvel Eggstein, Miss Becky.
it takes a lot of food.
They love this stuff.
These chickens are teaching third graders at St. Paul's, Clearwater's independent school, about finance.
It was like a little seed that was planted, how to make money real to 8 and 9-year-old kids. Money is going to become real through chickens. We're going to get chickens.
The chicken business plan was developed.
Her name is Felicia, and she's like the head chicken.
Students were organized into different departments, and from research to actually building the business.
The coop was 27 pages to build this whole thing.
A variety of tasks to keep it going.
There's like feeding, and then there's also like the collecting the eggs job. And there's like sometimes there's like hosting, where they host class and they like take pictures with the classes. And like we have to clean out the coop sometimes.
They knew they wanted to create a sustainable business. They wanted to be able to sell eggs and make enough money to like buy the chicken food to keep the business going, but we needed to start somewhere.
You have to have fundraisers to get the money, and you have to work hard to get it.
The kids will continue working with the chickens in 4th grade and sell the eggs. Students already have a strategy.
Probably advertise it around the school and have like posters everywhere.
The chickens leaving a lasting impression.
In the beginning, they used to like run away from us, and now they just like come to us.
So to see 8 and 9-year-olds like really work together to like for one purpose and one mission was like the most rewarding thing as a teacher.
It's been really cool. I never would have thought that we would be doing this.
In Clearwater, Melissa Eichman, Spectrum, Bay News 9.
This morning, the Kish family had to step carefully.
There were sliders there, behind you, and to your side there were sliders.
After the tornado tore through their home, shattering their sliding glass doors and tearing apart their kitchen and family room.
Stuff all over the place.
Alex Kish and his family got a phone call while they were in Miami.
Came back this morning and this is what we say.
Oh, here's a fish! They called a restoration company, like many others on their street.
All the windows just started breaking and popping and exploding. It was just unbelievable.
We talked to some local contractors today, and they tell us they're flooded with calls. One company getting upwards of 30 calls before noon.
It's kind of like a hurry up and wait game. We got to accomplish fast.
Cape Coral Mayor Marnie Sawicki visited the damaged homes.
I feel for our residents. I mean, it's this frustrating time. This is their belongings. This is what they've worked their lives for.
She says she's proud of how the city is handling it.
We're a very, very resilient community, and I think we'll come through this just fine. We're in a good place right now.
And Kish agrees with her.
You just got to realize that all this stuff can be replaced. If we were to get hurt, nobody's fixing that. It's a win, I guess. In some sick, crazy way, it's a win.
A sad sight at Central Pentecostal Ministries in Lynn Haven. Pastor Don Schutz has been here almost 40 years, but he's not focusing on all this damage to his church after Hurricane Michael.
I think a true pastor, their first thoughts is not sheetrock and the damage to this property, but a true pastor is his people.
Underneath all this damage, his focus, people and hope.
Where is their level of hope? What is their plans for tomorrow? Because tomorrow will come.
A tomorrow pastor says will be taking a negative and turning it into a positive. Most of the roof was blown off. Debris and water damage cover pews where people once prayed. This congregation will rebuild.
Tomorrow will be brighter than today.
And with the sun shining on this church, faith, surrounded by destruction, still stands.
That cross screams to every human being, there is hope. There is hope.
Northeast High.
Class of 1960, Jim White and Sharon Cook were storybook sweethearts.
He was president of the class and captain of the football team, and I was homecoming queen. We were lavaliered, or going steady.
With dreams of one day becoming an astronaut, White joined the Air Force and was sent to Vietnam in 1969.
This is what he wanted to do. I was supportive.
So much so that at White's request, Cook moved with the couple's 6-month-old daughter to Thailand near White's base. Just a few weeks after arriving, Cook got the news. Her husband was shot down while on a mission.
I asked if there was a shoot scene, and at the time they said, we can't tell you. And I asked where he was shot down, and they said, we can't tell you. Just that he was missing.
And so began what Cook calls a roller coaster of emotions. At times, feelings of despair. At other moments, the hope that her husband would someday come home.
I thought if there was anyone who could make it out alive, he would be that person. He just would have given his all, and I felt he had the resources that he would be able to do it.
Now, 49 years later, Cook finally has some answers. This bone fragment and part of White's tooth, discovered at what's believed to be his crash site. Cook, who eventually remarried and moved forward with life, sat today in her living room, telling us of closure and of the final honor her long-lost love would receive.
It's like paying last respects, perhaps. It's a formal, it's a formal saying goodbye. But you get to do it then.
In St. Petersburg, Kate McVeigh, Spectrum, Bay News 9.
An appetizer or a meal, either way, this dish is full of flavor.
You have sweet, you have sour, you have spicy, you have soft. The fish is very soft and clean.
We get started with the seasoning.
Curry powder, white pepper, black pepper, Chinese 5-spice, and salt.
Chef coats the ahi tuna with a spice blend. Once the fish is seasoned, it's time to sear. Chef heats the oil and coats the pan.
I'm going to sear the tuna on each side for about 20 seconds.
The searing doesn't stop there. Tuna will now cool and rest.
What I'm going to do here is make the soy dressing for the tataki.
Heat the pan with oil.
I'm going to start with a little bit of ginger, freshly grated ginger.
Add chopped garlic and some scallions.
I'm going to deglaze it with soy sauce.
Add the juice of 2 limes, honey, and stir.
I'm going to let it reduce for about 5 minutes until it's down about 30% and it's nice and thick.
Time to plate the tuna tataki. Slice the fish nice and thin. Start building using a zigzag pattern. The first layer is julienne daikon radish and carrots mixed in pickling juice.
Now I'm going to garnish it with oranges.
Breakfast radishes add crunch and color.
Chili threads add a little bit of heat.
The soy dressing is drizzled on top.
This adds a sweet and salty component to the dish.
Grated orange zest adds a punch. Toasted sesame seeds and black sesame seeds go on next, then cilantro oil. The dish is topped off with micro mizuna.
Mizuna is a green that has a nice peppery flavor to it.
A dish full of flavor and full of color. I'm Melissa Eichman. I'll see you next time in the Chef's Kitchen.